Okay, so let's continue editing our footer, and we'll need to head on over to the back end of our site, go over to Flotheme, section 7, footer, and click on footer options. In the following area, we have three different layouts to choose from. Each layout has its own set of settings. Some are similar and some are different. So there are certain settings that are the same for all three options. First of all is your elements color. Then you can choose whether or not you want to display your logo within the footer. And as you can see, I have my logo here, and just FYI, your elements color is basically all of your text. This line, social media icon, and this little arrow, this is considered your elements colors, and of course this text area as well. Okay, so make adjustments here. If you need to upload a custom or a different type of logo, maybe a miniature version of your main logo to the footer, you can choose to do that as well. So click here, enable this option. You'd normally start off with this look. So you click on add image, upload an image from your computer, or select one from your media library. And you can then also choose whether or not you want to have a menu within the footer. So as you can see within my example here, my menu from the header duplicates with the menu at the footer. So you can do that, or you can add specific pages like your terms and agreements, privacy policy pages, and so forth to display only within the footer of your site. So if you choose to do that, first of all, you need to disable your header menu. Okay, and then you need to go over to appearance, go to menus, create your second menu, label it as footer, add in your pages to it, and only then it will appear in the following drop down. So in my case, I've played around with this a little bit, so I have another second menu that I've created. It includes only 2 pages, I believe. So I'll just select this option first, and then at the bottom here everything is pretty standard. You simply adjust the fonts, text, drop down colors, and so forth. You can also disable or enable this scroll to top arrow, and then adjust or add in your copyrights noticed area. So that's it for layout type A that we have. So let's click on update, and we'll then refresh our home page and see what we've come up with. Okay, so as you can see here, we have our logo changed, our menu changed, and yeah, everything else is pretty standard. So next off, let's take a look into type B. This layout is a little bit more interactive. Essentially, these elements remain the same as mentioned earlier. However, now we have additional sections to work with. We have left area, and then we have our right area. And if we take a look at our sample here, essentially we can add text, we can add social icons, we can add additional text to our footer, so you can have different types of content. So if you click on add block, we basically have 3 sections to choose from. We can add content, which is a standard WordPress editor, and for those who get super creative, you can actually do quite a lot with this. You can add in short codes, links, images, videos. I mean, you name it. This is the standard WordPress text editor that you have. So once again, you can go crazy with options and adding it in there as long as it all looks good. So our second option is newsletter sign up. You need to add all of your MailChimp or whatever newsletter sign up credentials to the following area, and that's pretty much it. And our third option is adding in social links. So here the options are also pretty simple. You can choose either rounded or simple icons, meaning they do not have this little circle around that. They just have the actual icon, and that's pretty much it. So let's get to it and make some adjustments here. Let's remove this newsletter sign up. First of all, let's add in our text, and we'll head on over to my favorite dummy text website. We'll add in some dummy text here. Okay, and then we'll head on over to our right area. We'll click on add block, and we'll then add another content area. So this section will be a little bit simplified, and let's see. let's just say we want to add bullet points. So we'll click here. So this will be bullets. Okay. And yeah, so we've added content to our right and left areas. And let's also add additional social media links to this area. Okay, so that's that. Let's go ahead and click on update, and then we will refresh the following page. Okay, so here we have the two sections that we've created. So as you can see, we have our logo. We then have our title, text, content areas, and our social media. So all of this content can be adjusted depending on your preferences. Now, as you can see, you may want to remove this logo from the bottom just because it probably doesn't fit in with the design you had in mind. So there are certain options that you need to kind of play around with in terms of settings, see what works best for you, and just make sure that all of the settings are accordingly. Alright, so let's head on over to our next section, which is type C. It's very similar to type B. We also have the same options here in terms of logos and fonts, and here we also have a few additional areas. We have areas on the right and left hand side, and the only main difference here is that the content or the layout itself is slightly different. So let's just click on update, and then we'll refresh this page. Okay, and you can see that the following layout changed accordingly. So there are certain areas that you can play around with, adjust, make sure that they work for you. But once again, this is just kind of showing the concept of how all of this works within it. Make adjustments accordingly. As you can see, all of this text, all of that needs to be center aligned, so it does need a little bit tweaking and refining. However, the concept remains the same. Everything is broken down into sections. Simply click on add block, and you choose whether it's a content block, newsletter, sign up, or social media links, and then make the according adjustments. Okay, so other than that, this is it for the footer settings. I hope everything makes sense in the following video, and I'll see you guys around later in our next videos.